Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Farmington Board of Education regular meeting for December 4th, 2023 at 7 p.m. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next on the agenda is, Patty got here just in time. Their recognition and a proclamation for Patty Boy Williams, Board of Education member. So. I think I'll read it from here. So Patty has been elected to the town council, and where she will be returning. She was a member of the town council once before, so the Board of Education will miss Patty, but the town is very lucky to have Patty be on the town council. So as the chair, I'm going to read this proclamation because she can't serve on both the board and the town council. So this Farmington Board of Education proclamation for Patricia Boy Williams, whereas the Farmington Board of Education's mission is to enable all students to achieve academic and personal excellence, exhibit persistent effort, and live as resourceful, inquiring, and contributing global citizens. And whereas students in the Farmington Public Schools effectively master important academic content, demonstrate skills aligned to our vision of the global citizen and achievement at high levels, and develop their individual talents and interests in an atmosphere that promotes curiosity, cooperation, respect, and lifelong learning. And whereas Patricia Boy Williams has served with complete commitment as a member of the Farmington Board of Education and mentor for fellow board members for 2 years, from January 2022 until December 2023, and has shown a tireless dedication to high-quality education throughout her term by her dedication to the Board of Education. And whereas Patricia Boy Williams has worked with fellow board members, students, faculty, staff, and families to support Farmington's vision of the global citizen, along with important curriculum projects. As a result, she led efforts to initiate new and innovative programming and practices across schools through a student-centered, highly engaging, and mastery-based learning approach that has resulted in students as leaders of their own learning. And whereas Patricia Boy Williams has served on the Curriculum Committee and the Personnel and Negotiations Committee over the past 2 years. In addition, she was the board's liaison to the Town and Board of Ed Green Efforts Committee. She also participated in the appointment of school and district level administrators. And whereas Patricia Boy Williams established a strong partnership with the town council to engage in collaborative school facility projects and successfully pass budgets, gaining the support of the Farmington community and providing the resources necessary to achieve the mission and goals of Farmington's public schools. She collaboratively initiated the Elementary Ad Hoc Committee with her board colleagues to address school enrollment and facility capacities for many years to come. As a board member, she supported the new Farmington High School facility project to be completed in 2024, which will benefit generations of students as well as the entire Farmington community. And whereas Patricia Boy Williams fully and with great compassion supported the Farmington Public Schools administration, faculty, staff, students, and community during her tenure. And whereas Patricia Boy Williams' valuable contributions contributed to Farmington's nationally recognized school district, improving academic outcomes, dramatically increasing college credit-bearing courses, and prioritizing the social emotional well-being for all students over her time on the Board of Education. And now, therefore, I, Elizabeth Fitzsimmons, on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education and the Farmington community, hereby commend Board of Education member Patricia Boy Williams for her committed work on behalf of our community, and I hereby thank her for her selfless dedication and commitment to quality education for the children of Farmington. Dated this 4th day of December 2023 at Farmington, Connecticut. Thank you, Patty.
I just want to thank Patty for her dedication. You know, Patty is someone who is all about community service. She has served on the town council in the past, the Board of Education, many committees, and now back to the town council. And I feel so fortunate that you're continuing to be an elected official and really supporting our schools in a different way, but still here for Farmington. And you've really enriched this board during your time on the Board of Education. And I just always appreciated your voice at the table. So thank you and wish you the best of luck. And also, we're going to see you soon during the budget process.
Does anybody want to say anything? Patty? No?
I'm gonna say something.
Yeah.
We'll probably say something to everybody who's leaving this today, because for those of you watching at home or watching the audience, it's kind of like graduation. A lot of, as everybody moves on from their time on the board. And I've seen a lot of them over my 15 years here. And Patty, I'll just say that we're better for your service. You have demonstrated some substantial commitment to what we value most in our community. You've done it fairly, open-mindedly, collaboratively, and with great leadership. And we will miss you here. I look forward to working with you on the council.
Patty?
Thank you.
Oh.
He's welcoming me to the board for the past 2 years. I've enjoyed my time here. I am looking forward to going back to the town council and continuing to work with the board and also continuing to fight for our schools.
Yeah, thank you, Patty, for everything you've done, and your voice was definitely heard and needed, and you've been a great asset. So the board will miss you, but the town council and the town is lucky to have you. So thank you. All right. So next is recognition and proclamation for Sarah Healy, Board of Education member. Okay. So whereas Farmington Board of Education's mission is to enable all students and achieve academic and personal excellence, exhibit persistent effort, and live as resourceful, inquiring, and contributing global citizens. And whereas students in the Farmington Public Schools effectively master important academic content, demonstrate skills aligned to our vision of the global citizen, and achieve at high levels, and develop their individual talents and interests in an atmosphere that promotes curiosity, cooperation, respect, and lifelong learning. And whereas Sarah Healy has served with compassion and dedication as a member of the Farmington Board of Education for 4 years from January 2020 until December 2023, and has shown a tireless commitment to high-quality education throughout her term, including during a global pandemic, in the public schools by her dedication to the Board of Education. And whereas Sarah Healy worked with fellow board members, students, faculty, staff, and families to support Farmington's vision of the global citizen, as a result, she led efforts to initiate new and innovative programming and practice across schools through a student-centered, highly engaged, and mastery-based learning approach that has resulted in students as leaders of their own learning. And whereas Sarah Healy has served on several committees during her time as a board member. Sarah served on the Curriculum Committee, Personnel and Negotiations Committee, and the Farmington High School Building Committee. In addition, she was the board's liaison to the Chamber of Commerce Committee, the Noah Wallace Fund Committee, the Committee Council for Equity and Inclusion, and the Elementary Ad Hoc Committee. She also participated in the appointment of school and district level administrators. And whereas Sarah Healy established a strong partnership with the town council to engage in collaboratively school facility projects promoting programmatic security and ME3 improvements. In addition, she successfully passed annual budgets, gaining the support of the Farmington community and providing the resources necessary to achieve the mission and goals of the Farmington Public Schools. Most recently, her leadership on the Farmington High School Building Committee has contributed to the successful construction of a new Farmington High School facility project to be completed in 2024, which will benefit generations of students as well as the entire Farmington community. And whereas Sarah Healy unequivocally and with great care supported the Farmington Public Schools administration, faculty, staff, students, and community during her term. And whereas Sarah Healy's valuable contributions drove Farmington's nationally recognized school district in improving academic outcomes, dramatically increasing college credit-bearing courses for all students, and prioritizing the social emotional well-being for all students over several years. And now, therefore, I, Elizabeth Fitzsimmons, on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education and the Farmington community, hereby commend Board of Education member Sarah Healy for her committed and compassionate work on behalf of our community, and hereby thank her for this selfless dedication and commitment to quality education for the children of Farmington. Dated this 4th day of December, 2023 at Farmington, Connecticut. And again, Sarah will be with Patty on the town council. Thank you, Sarah. The board will miss you. Well, all the lawyers are leaving. I just so, all right. So, but thank you for all that you have done on the Board of Education. I'm sure the board will miss you, but the town again is getting a wonderful, very smart, committed resource on the town council.
So, this is just a really hard night that we're saying goodbye to such amazing people, and I know we'll, again, continue to work with you, Sarah. I have always found that you're so student-centered and caring in all that you do. You've been so generous with your time, and I have gone to you many times for guidance and feedback, and you've always been so thoughtful, and you make the time to chat when, anything might come up. I will, miss you, but I know that we'll still work together in your role at the town council level. I will always remember your child's first day of school. There were some busing issues that day, and I happened to be at the school, so it's always going to be a vivid memory for me. That was a bonding moment, I would say.
It was.
But just such a pleasure with you and continue to work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody want to say anything? No?
I just want to say thank you. I can remember meeting you for the first time and being so excited to have somebody that was kind of excited to be running for the seat and just wanting to be part of this this table here, which is this small group of people who I'm just grateful for all of you. But Sarah specifically, your commitment to the board, your willingness to jump in, all the things that we just said. We will definitely miss our chats and commute home, which is the perfect time to talk to you. Our caucuses with Sylvie and Dean. There's just so many things in this, but I'm very excited for your new role and
Thank you. I just want to say, Sarah, you're the reason why I'm here, because the first call I was told was to reach out to Sarah about what to expect, and Sarah, from that moment forward, has been guiding light to many things and questions that I have, as well as Christine, and just very thankful for your friendship and looking forward to working with you. So I'm super happy. Thank you.
Just two things I wanted to say. I wish, I'm so happy you have so I wish you the best. There's two things about me that I always was impressed by. First was that when you were elected, we were in a pandemic within 3 minutes. And being a board member is hard enough, and then to have to do that in those times. And you were flexible, you were thoughtful, you asked really good questions. And I was really impressed by how you took that role, And I also want to say, you're one of the best listeners I've ever seen. You're an extraordinary listener. I think that's a real sign of leadership. So I wish you the best of luck. I miss you.
Thank you. Hopefully I won't be teary, but thank you, everyone. It's been a real pleasure to serve with each and every one of you. I've learned so much, and I thank you all for listening to my questions. This has just been such a rewarding experience. I really admire all of you as board members and all of you as administrators, Kathy, Scott, Kim, just working with each one of you has been a great experience, and I will miss it very much. But I'm looking forward to continuing to collaborate with everyone as I move on to the town council. And I'll always be an advocate for our schools. Thank you.
All right, Andy. All right, next is Christine. Okay. Whereas, all right, Christine. Whereas, the longer you're here, the longer these
Same to you, ages. We're not on the same time.
Whereas Farmington Board of Education's mission is to enable all students to achieve academic and personal excellence, exhibit persistent effort, and live as resourceful, inquiring, and contributing global citizens. And whereas students in the Farmington Public Schools effectively master important academic content, demonstrate skills aligned to our vision of the global citizen, and achievement at high levels, and develop their individual talents and interests in an atmosphere that promotes curiosity, cooperation, respect, and lifelong learning. And whereas Christine Arnold has served with complete dedication as a member of the Farmington Board of Education and mentor for fellow board members for 8 years, from January 2016 until December 2023, and has shown a tireless commitment to high-quality education in the public schools, including during a global pandemic, by her dedication to the Board of Education. And whereas Christine Arnold worked with fellow board members, students, faculty, staff, and families to develop and support Farmington's vision of the graduate, which was 2010 to 2020, and vision of the global citizen, which we have from 2020 to the present. As a result, she led efforts to initiate new and innovative programming and practices across schools through a student-centered, highly engaging, and mastery-based learning approach that has resulted in students serving as change makers and self-directed leaders of their own learning. Whereas Christine Arnold has served on several committees during her time as a board member, Christine chaired and served on the Personnel and Negotiations Committee, Curriculum Committee, and Policy Committee. In addition, she was the board's liaison to the Farmington Public Schools Foundation, the Health and Wellness Committee, the Cafeteria Advisory Committee, the Cafeteria Ad Hoc Committee, FHS Building Committee's Finance Subcommittee, FHS Ad Hoc, and served on search committees. And whereas Christine Arnold established a strong partnership with the town council and community to engage in collaborative school and town facility projects, including the initiation and completion of short and long-term K-8 and high school facility review reports and recommendations. These reviews have led to countless projects that have improved K-12 facilities to support innovative educational programming. In addition, she enhanced the partnership between the Board of Education and town to successfully pass budgets, gaining the support of the Farmington community and providing the resources necessary to achieve the mission and goals of the Farmington Public Schools. Her collaborative efforts contributed to the successful passing of a historic new Farmington High School facility to be completed in 2024, which will benefit generations of students as well as the entire Farmington community. And whereas Christine Arnold served as vice chair of the Board of Education for 2 years during her tenure and provided expert guidance in the areas of self-insurance, negotiations, communication, and supported numerous curriculum enhancements. During her time on the Board of Education, the Riverhawks mascot was launched as a result of a Board of Education initiated ad hoc committee. Many generations to come will benefit from the inclusion of a new mascot that promotes school unity along with the school spirit and pride. Christine collaboratively initiated the Elementary Ad Hoc Committee to address school enrollment and facility capacities for many years to come. And whereas Christine Arnold fully supported the Farmington Public Schools administration, faculty, staff, students, and community as a visionary and courageous leader. Her impact has been profound and will last for many years to come. And whereas Christine Arnold's valuable contributions contributed to Farmington's nationally recognized school district in improving academic outcomes, dramatically increasing college credit-bearing courses, and prioritizing the social and emotional well-being for all students over several years. And now, therefore, I, Elizabeth Fitzsimmons, on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education and the Farmington community, hereby commend Board of Education member Christine Arnold for her committed and compassionate work on behalf of our community. And I hereby thank her for her selfless dedication and commitment to quality education for the children of Farmington. Dated this 4th day of December, 2023, Farmington, Connecticut. Thank you, Christine. Well, there are so many things I want to say about Christine, so, but I won't, so. But basically, I just want to say that one of the things that, I consider to be the best thing about this board is that we worked so well together. And that's one of the things that I'm proudest about in my tenure on this board, and I could not have done any of it without Christine. So, like, my relationship with Christine has been, like, just, I think, the best thing about the last 2 years on this board, and just how, like, we could work together and get things done as, like, a board. And we don't always agree on everything. We certainly don't. That is for sure. But we work, but we have worked well together, and like could be cordial and be civil, and we could find a way to, you know, and be friends at the end, and we could find a way to compromise or collaborate or come up with a way to not yell and scream at each other and talk about how the other person is wrong for feeling a different way than the other person. So, and that has been, you know, a great thing to see happen in real life, especially these days. So I just think that that kind of relationship is something good to have, and I just thank Christine for engaging in that. And that's, I think, what helped this board a lot. So thank you. Well, I didn't second you.
Out of order.
Well, I'm in denial that Christine is leaving. Christine has been such a support to me, to administration, to our teachers, our students, very student-centered in all that you've done. You have contributed so much to this school district, and there'll be a ripple effect for many years to come, whether it has to do with negotiations or self-insurance. You know, we have been through different issues that I could call Christine and get some feedback on, and you have such expertise in so many areas. The FHS facility project, the mascot change, I could go on and on and on about all of Christine's contributions. You have always been available whenever I needed to give you a call, and again, you would provide such strong guidance as a board leader, and your care for this school district and all the members of the school district has been unwavering. I'll miss you so much, but I know that, you know, Farmington is always in your heart, and, you know, maybe one day I could convince you somehow to come. But I'm just so appreciative of all that you have done for us.
Anyone? All right.
Yeah, I kind of waited because I wanted to speak to Sarah and Patty and
Oh.
Christine at the same time. I was fortunate to serve with the three of them on negotiations and curriculum in different years, but with the three of you. And the three of you are such smart women. I'm honored to have served with you guys on those committees. I value your opinion. You made me think about things. You asked great questions. And I wish you all well. I'm so happy for you, Sarah, and for Patty that you're going to be on the town council. You're going to do good things for Farmington.
I'll get out the door sometime.
I just want to say, you know, so long, 15 years ago, but it's not about me, it's about you. One thing, there's so many things I'd like to say. First of all, is that you're extraordinary. Your sober, thoughtful approach to what we do here is an example for how anyone who wants to serve in a community should conduct themselves when we do our town's business. You serve in a tradition of bipartisanship that I was privileged to meet when I first got involved, and that legacy continues on through too. You are leaving a legacy, and I'm going to miss you not sitting on my right side for sure. You know, I found that we probably agreed a lot more when we disagreed, which is kind of interesting. That's probably more true than not. Right. And I think that's one of the cool things about your service and what's cool about what we do here is that you're a perfect example. When we sit around, we come up with these preconceived notions of what it is that we think and what we want, what our values might be. When we sit at the table and work collaboratively, we come up with a really great way of doing things. And you are absolutely inspirational, a big part of that. And the town is lesser than that because you're not the leader. You've got a great group coming in, but your experience is going to be messed up. I'll miss sitting next to you.
I'll just keep it quick because everyone said a lot of what I want to say, but you've been a wonderful mentor to me, Christine. As Bill said, I started this in the middle of the pandemic, well, right as soon as the pandemic started, and I wouldn't have been able to kind of navigate it without your mentorship and your guidance. So you really, truly are going to be missed on this board. I don't know what we'll do without you, but I do hope you get back to them sometime because you are so smart and so thoughtful. You have a way of taking a lot of information and distilling it down to what's important, and it's a really unique gift. So thank you for everything.
I'm just gonna have one next thing. She's our code, that's our code, we'll forever be our code. It really just kept us coming and it kept us together and just supported us in every level, whether we just started or we were on long, we just appreciate it and good time. So, and I know I'm such a.
Now I'm gonna jump into. Christine, you've been a pleasure, and I can say that I tried many times to say, please stay, please stay, but I didn't work. I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure working with all of you. You guys have been great, and I thought we worked so well together. What a great collaborative group I thought. So that will be missed, and I hope we continue to do that. And I just wish you all luck in your future endeavors. We thank you for all your meetings.
So I've done so much reflecting in the last few months, and so I continue to go back to like my earliest days, and I can remember vividly the first weeks after the election. And Kathy gave me this piece of advice, and it's just here forever. And she said, just approach every decision with a student first mindset. And it's as simple as that. And I hate to boil it down to something so simple, but it really is. When you sit at this table, if you take that advice, you can be successful, and that's what. I'm very proud of the work I've done here. I'm grateful to all of you, and I wish the district so much success moving forward. You know, this is the award show. You know, you have the community to thank. This is an elected position, and so we do rely on the community. They're not here all the time. They're always with us. Everyone who sat at this table now and before me has made an impact. We have a legacy, like Bill said. There's a large group of people who I call on as my mentors and my supporters and people that I think highly of and take their advice, including Kathy and the central office team, and administrators, teachers, and students, and that's what makes this district so great. And so lastly, and most importantly, family. there are so many people who know what it is for us to be here. So, thank you guys.
Okay. B.
I need you to give me a. And I can move out there.
I'm not doing my own. That was
You're your eyes right now. I don't think I can read this.
Yes.
I'm serious. I have to let know this a little bit.
Same.
Right. Farmington Board of Education proclamation for Elizabeth Fitzsimmons. Whereas Farmington Board of Education's mission is to enable all students to achieve academic and personal excellence, exhibit persistent effort, and live as resourceful, inquiring, and contributing global citizens. And whereas students in the Farmington Public Schools effectively master important academic content, demonstrate skills aligned to our vision of the global citizen, and achievement at high levels, and develop their individual talents and interests in an atmosphere that promotes curiosity, cooperation, respect, and lifelong learning. And whereas Elizabeth Fitzsimmons has served with complete dedication and vision as a member of the Farmington Board of Education for 8 years, from January 2016 until December 2023, and has shown a tireless commitment to high-quality education in the public schools, including during the global pandemic, by her dedication to the Board of Education. And whereas Elizabeth Fitzsimmons worked with fellow board members, students, faculty, staff, and families to support Farmington's vision of the graduate, 2010 to 2020, and vision of the global citizen, 2020 to present. As a result, she led efforts to initiate new and innovative curriculum, programming, and practices across schools through a student-centered, highly engaging, and mastery-based learning approach that has resulted in students serving as change makers and leaders of their own learning. And whereas Elizabeth Fitzsimmons has served on several committees during her time as a board member, she served on the Communications, Public Relations, Personnel and Negotiations, Curriculum, and Policy Committees. In addition, she served on the Town Board of Education Green Efforts Committee, Cafeteria Ad Hoc Committees, FHS Ad Hoc, FHS Building Committees, Finance Subcommittee, and the Elementary Ad Hoc Committee. Lastly, she was the board liaison to Farmington Public School Foundation, REC, Health and Wellness Committee, FHS Extended Learning Opportunities, Racial Equity Task Force, and served on search committees. And whereas Elizabeth Fitzsimmons established a strong partnership with the Town Council to engage in collaborative school and town facility projects in the areas of security, facility facades, roof improvement, and MEP, as well as programmatic improvements. In addition, she enhanced the partnership between the Board of Education and town to successfully pass budgets, gaining the support of Farmington community and providing the resources necessary to achieve the mission and goals of the Farmington Public Schools. Her visionary and collaborative leadership contributed to the successful passing of a historic new Farmington High School facility to be completed in 2024, which will benefit generations of students as well as the entire Farmington community. And whereas Elizabeth Fitzsimmons served as chair of the Board of Education for 2 years and vice chair for 2 years, and initiated the Elementary Ad Hoc Committee to address school enrollment and facility capacities for many years to come. During her time on the Board of Education, the Riverhawks mascot was launched as a result of a Board of Education-initiated ad hoc committee. Many generations to come will benefit from the inclusion of a new mascot that promotes school unity along with school spirit and pride. Her contributions have been numerous and her dedication unwavering. And whereas Elizabeth Fitzsimmons steadfastly supported the Farmington Public Schools administration, faculty, staff, students, and community, her leadership impact has been significant, which will have a ripple effect for many years to come. And whereas Elizabeth Fitzsimmons' valuable contributions drove Farmington's nationally recognized school district in improving academic outcomes, dramatically increasing college credit-bearing courses, and prioritizing social emotional well-being for all students over several years. And now therefore, I, Andrea Sabinski, on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education and the Farmington community, hereby commend Board of Education member Elizabeth Fitzsimmons for her committed and compassionate work on behalf of our community, and I hereby thank her impressive dedication and commitment to quality education for the children of Farmington, dated this 4th day of December 2023 at Farmington Community.
So this is another denial moment. Liz, I met Liz many years ago. Prior to Liz being on the board, she was an incredible supporter of the Farmington schools. She served on the Farmington Future organization, which supported schools through annual budgets. I do remember a moment that Liz worked with the community at the town meeting to make a change in the budget. You know, in Farmington, given our town charter, at a town meeting, if there's a concern about the budget and enough people come and enough people vote, there can be changes. And it was the only time I've been here that it's ever happened, but it was pretty amazing to see what someone who just cares so much about the Farmington schools and all of our students can do for a community, bringing everyone together. It was just an incredible moment that I'll always remember. When Liz joined the Board of Education 8 years ago, she was consistent in her leadership and support for all students in Farmington. She's always had a focus on equity, ensuring that every child has access to a high-quality education, and also a focus on students' well-being. Even through challenging times, she puts students first and the mission and vision of our school district at the forefront of all decision-making. I wish Liz the very best, and I know that she will always be someone who will be dedicated to the Farmington School District and someone that I could always pick up the phone and call. Your dedication and many accomplishments will be remembered for so many years to come. And I just want to thank you for all the support you've given me over the 8 years. It's just remarkable what elected officials do here in Farmington. They really make an impact, and I'm going to miss you so much.
So I wanted to thank you as well. Not more good now because that's problem. So I really wanted to thank you for all of your leadership in these last 8 years. I know these last 2 have been particularly heavy with your role as chair. You have just been an excellent and dedicated board member, and I appreciate you. You deserve a ton of respect. So I mentioned I've been doing lots of reflection, and so I was thinking back to the fall of 2015 when Liz and I were both running for our first term, and our collective political parties had made us enemies. We did us against each other on the ballot, and we had no idea we were competitors at that point. And then November 4th came, right? The election was over, the recounts were done, and Liz and I started meeting for coffee regularly, and a friendship blossomed. And as Liz outlined before, we certainly don't agree on everything. Sometimes we don't agree on anything, but we have just done an amazing job working in a way to get things done and bring people together and find a common ground. And I'm really, really proud of that, and I'm proud of you. And so I thank you for your friendship, and I thank you for your work, and I wish you all the best in the future.
So I'd like to say something to it. So again, back to 2015.
Sorry, I'm driving.
I know. No. But when I was thinking about what I wanted to say to you tonight. So back in 2015 is when I first met Liz, and I too was running for the Board of Ed, but it was I was quite naive to campaigning. I was naive to town politics, and you were a mentor. And I know that if I hadn't been running with you at that time, even though I lost, I wouldn't have continued and I wouldn't be on the board of ed today if it wasn't for you. I know that for sure. We've had very spirited conversations sometimes and also vulnerable conversations sometimes. And I've learned a lot from you. Like Christine, you know, we don't always agree, but we find common ground. I wish you well. I'll miss you. I'll miss our spirited.
I'm not dying.
I know, but you know, we've had more reason to talk more. You know, like I'll miss the spirited conversations.
I know that I know.
But no, and just you know, because we've had some very vulnerable conversations too, and I thank you for trusting me with this. So.
I'll go back even earlier
No
to,
problem.
to that era when people don't understand this. It kind of expand a little bit further. When the Farmington Board of Ed puts forward the budget, it's a recommendation. The town council can either accept it, reject it, or modify it. The town charter, and so I think it was 2013, let's say 2012, maybe. Maybe early
Yeah, it was 11.
2011, okay. So in this particular year, the town council felt that we had to cut the budget pretty significantly. And it didn't sit well with many of us on the board, and it didn't sit well with many people in the community. I was on the board at the time, Liz and Beth were not. They were in Farmington Futures. And so we would talk after meetings, and we would share our frustration about what's happening. And we have to do something. And the Farmington Futures went out and drummed up community support. The first time I spent any time with you was in your house with Beth, and there's two other people. We were making phone calls. We were calling people to come out, telling our friend, explaining people could be right. And I remember thinking at that point in time, boy, she'd be a great board member. We'd love to have you, because your passion is what is what I think defines you. It's one of the things that you and I have a lot of in common. It's tremendous amount of passion for what you believe. And you've always stayed true to it. Never been less than. Through a challenging health period, you served with grace and class and composure, and you led despite not feeling very well. I think about that. I think about the Zoom meetings you would have during the pandemic and just kind of like laughing at the absolute absurdity of it all. And being hamstrung with what we want to do and what we can't do and all different things. There's a thing that I try to serve by, always keep students first. But also, when you're done here, I think all you ladies can say this without any reservation. Did you leave it better than when you started? What you found? And the answer to that question is unequivocally yes. Your legacy is in the high school. Your legacy is a commitment to diversity and inclusion that was not present nearly to the extent it should have been 5, 6, 7 years ago. Those are important legacies, and we need to reflect on that. I hope all of you take that off this table and know that you made our community better. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I want to say one thing too. I want to thank you for your leadership. And I'm looking back to when I first really got to know you, Liz, was when you, me, and Andrea were on the personnel committee together. And I remember those Zoom meetings and, my first experience kind of not knowing what to expect with all of this. And we really bonded and worked really well together. I really appreciated that time with each of you. And we had some good laughs too, in addition to, it being not always easy. And then I just want to thank you too for your leadership these past 2 years. One thing that I really appreciate about you, Liz, is that you're always honest about what you think, what you believe. Like everyone said, we may not always agree, but I know exactly where you stand all the time. You don't hide the ball, you don't pretend, and I really appreciate that about you. So thank you so much, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Lisa. You were great, Liz. I agree and disagree, but you always brought us in and always listened and made us feel included in everything. And you definitely did past couple years with police, with everything done, for how they are, they're gonna be person, whatever the thoughts have to be, and stay in the, so, thank you for each of you.
Thanks. Well, thank you, everyone. So I started, I mean, this weekend, because I've been in denial as well. It's weird, like, being in this position. I guess, like, everyone's like, oh, are you counting down? I'm like, yeah, I can't wait. It's great. I'm gonna have my time back. But because it takes up a lot of time being in this position, you know, you volunteer all this time but then I started to write things down, and what am I going to say? And then I was like, you can't really write down what you're going to say until the time comes, like you're just thinking about it. But so I think, you know, I want to echo that. I want to thank, you know, the teachers, the students, administrators, especially the ones that like sit here at the table night, week after week, year after year. And I mean, when I say year after year, I mean, I've been coming to Board of Ed meetings for 15 years. So, I mean, it's like year after year. Again, year after year. Kathy. So, and not to belittle the point, like not to bemoan the point, Bill. So, you know, it's a lot of commitment, and everyone really has the best interest of the students first and foremost, and then obviously, you know, teachers and parents. And this is just a phenomenal school district all around. Not perfect, but phenomenal. And nothing's perfect. And I couldn't be, I just couldn't be in a better place, and I couldn't be any luckier than to have been a part of this board for 8 years. And this board, and I don't mean with these people, I mean this board is like it's a living thing, it's fluid. So this board, when we leave, is going to be this board. It's the Farmington Public School, it's the board for Farmington. And, you know, it's not our board, it's the Farmington Public Schools board. So we're going to leave it, and new members will come on, and, you know, it's going to just continue on and go in the direction that we took it, and we kept going in a direction, and it'll keep living. And it'll keep going in that direction. And, you know, it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to Farmington. And it belongs to the students of Farmington. And we're just taking care of it and watching over it for this period of time that we're on it. That's how I feel. And I just feel privileged that I got to watch over this board with all of you. Because I just couldn't have asked for better people to be on the board at this time than with people like all of you. You all took it very seriously and did such a great job during such difficult times, all around, such difficult times. So I need to thank all of you as well. And of course, like Christine said, I have to thank my family. Because as you all know, the sacrifice that your family makes, it's hard enough for us to come and sit here for hours at night, but your family, they miss you. You miss so much with them, and they miss you doing those things with them. There's so much that gets missed family time. When I started as the West District liaison to the Board of Ed, you know, I was thinking about this the other day in anticipation of tonight. My kids, it was half of my son's life ago. Half. He's like half of his life. I mean, that's like crazy. You know, so it's a lot. And they took it all in stride and understand that it's for the good of the community. So I have to thank them because without them being supportive, you know, I wouldn't be able to do it and I wouldn't be able to, be successful at it. You can't give your all to something if your family isn't behind you, so. Maybe I'll come back and sit in the audience. No. I will not. And I'll say I don't want planners. No.
That goes way
Or we
back.
get
That
sponsored.
goes
Yeah.
way back.
We'll sell sponsored.
That was an inside joke from a long time
Inside
ago. But no, thank you very much. It's been a privilege and an honor, and I'm very excited for the new members to carry out their roles. So, and do the budget without me. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Andrea had something she wanted to say.
So everybody who's moving on from the Board of Ed tonight is receiving an official citation from the state of Connecticut General Assembly. They were dropped off tonight by Representative Mike D'Amico. And it's signed by the President Pro Tem, Speaker of the House, and Secretary of State. So the four of you will be sitting there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5 on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Item 5A, sorry, is approval of the minutes for the November 13th, 2023 Board of Ed regular meeting. I need a motion to approve the November 13th, 2023 Board of Ed regular meeting minutes as presented.
Motion?
Second?
All right, does anybody have any questions?
I do. Comment.
Comment?
Yeah, I would change in the committee reports, elementary ad hoc committee. The report was provided by Sarah, not me. For some reason they had indicated that I made it. So I would call Sarah.
I think That's
Okay.
right.
All right, thank you. So noted. I'll make that change. Okay, any other change or comments? So. We need to amend the motion to approve the November 13th, 2023 Board of Ed regular meeting minutes as amended.
Motion?
Second.
So, any questions on the amendment? Okay. All right, so all those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so the amendment passes. I would like a motion to approve the November 13th, 2023 Board of Ed regular meeting minutes as amended.
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right, 6B, English learner programming update.
So Veronica Ruzek, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, is here. Nicole Katoya.
Since I was at the table today.
Yeah.
Just
Just pull up a chair.
I thought I saw you before and then I couldn't see you. I was like, where'd she go? Okay.
I'm glad I have an opportunity also to address the board tonight. I just want to thank everybody who is outgoing. It's been great to work with you all, and I just, when you talk about the times that people can see you here and the sacrifices you've made, to be here, but it's not just what people see publicly. I mean, there's just so many conversations and calls that you get, and just to be a real public servant. And I think that, we talk about being stewards in our own VOG, that's what we're talking about here. And so I just hope that the kinds of students that, we're sort of shepherding through our school system are picking up on all of these themes and eventually will be part of boards themselves. So that to me is sort of the highest outcome of the kinds of educational experiences we're giving them, that they would aspire to be a community contributor like all of you have been. So just wanted to take a chance to thank you also for all of your service. It's great. We're here to talk about something that's really near and dear to our hearts here in Farmington. We're very fortunate to have lots of diversity in our community, and many students who come to our schools that speak other languages. And so I'm really going to let Nicole talk about all the numbers, but even just the number of students that we service is just a small fraction of the numbers of students who speak other languages in their home. We don't service all students who speak another language in their home, just the students who demonstrate a need for that service through a test called Lost Links. But I'll have Nicole get into all of that. But before I let her talk, so I just want you to know, Nicole is my right-hand man in this, and I couldn't do this without her. Just the sheer number of things that she needs to pay attention to in this program that's growing is just incredible. So I want to list just a couple. And then you'll hear themes of it as she talks about this program. But I just really want you to appreciate just how much thought, care, passion goes into this program, so that we can be that welcoming place that our students just referenced. That's really important to us. Like, we're talking about students that could arrive today into the United States of America and come to school tomorrow, and we have them, and we want them to, feel welcome right off the bat. We want to make sure that they just know where they're going, like where the bathroom is, that they can communicate with somebody. And it's really important for us to get it right. And so we're always trying to sort of, get better at what we're doing, and we have to do that while we have students coming in with greater needs and more students coming in than ever before. And so you'll get a sense of that. But there's a couple of things. So first, we have to have students. We need them to learn English, and they could be newcomers. We want them to learn the content at grade level that they're in, even though they may not know English. We need to know about assistive technology that might help them in order to achieve that. We want them to make friends, and we want to attend to their SEL, and we want to make sure they know about holidays like Halloween, so that they know kind of like what's going on. And we want to make sure that they know that there's a day off from school and how to read the calendar, so that they know not to come and be waiting for a bus maybe on a day that there's no school, for example. We want to make sure, I said this, make friends, so we want to have lunch bunches for students so that they're interacting with their peers in sort of social settings and having fun. And so that also requires some training of students that are going to help with those kinds of programs. We want to pay attention to the parents and parent engagement, and so we have many, and so pay attention to that too. We have many evening programs, other times for parents to connect with us in order to achieve that goal, including playground play dates, so that parents, not only is that a great opportunity for students to get together, get to know each other, but that's sort of where parents get to know each other, and they know, oh, that's a friend that my child, and so those kinds of things. Teacher training, so that at the tier 1 level, students are getting the kind of access that we would want for them for all students. Tutor training, we have tutors that run most of our program, and I'm telling you, the tutors we have are just phenomenal. We're so lucky to have our tutors, and are they able to sort of go with the flow? Every child of the number, when you see the numbers, but every child is unique. Every child has a different story. Every child's coming in with a different level of English acquisition and skills in the content areas from where they came from. Data and analysis. She's become a master of Excel spreadsheets and has had to learn all that so that we can give each child what they need, that we have the right data in order to move the program forward, so that we can staff it more, as best that we can, although sometimes you'll hear us talk about, sometimes we can't anticipate some of the fluctuations and the kinds of needs that are coming in. There's no PROUDA report for this, and so there's a lot of help that I get from Kathy and Scott, in order to figure out staffing levels, when you see, some of the things that are going on. I think that when we started writing the report, we had a certain number to report on here, and it's already changed since then. Like, I think by six,
Continue to change
by
throughout.
6, so I mean, we did this last week, and I think the number might be like 6 more.
And by the end of this week.
Okay, and then there will be even more. So this is the kind of pace that we're talking about. And we're not even talking about that this is something that we have to pay attention to on the first day of school, where everyone's coming in at the same time. That's not our reality. Our reality is, I wake up in the morning, I open my email, and I have from Catherine Terry Savage, I have a new registration, and so that we know to get the process started with the test or whatever. So I just want to say that this is an enormous, part of the work that we do in Farmington. It's a growing part of what we do, and we're happy to do it, and we want to do it to the highest level. We think about all of those things that I just said, and like I said, the person that is the most, in charge of all those things is Nicole Katoya, and I just appreciate her so much, and the town is just so lucky to have her, sort of her passion and her knowledge, her ability to, train other people, get other people on board, to do this really amazing work. So I'm gonna turn it over to her, but I just wanna make sure that she knows how much I appreciate all that she does, and you'll see some very smiley faces of our students, because who says it better than our students? So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Bud. Great program.
I'm here tonight really grateful for the chance to talk about the Yale Hope program, and also really grateful for Veronica's leadership. She says all of these nice things about me, but really she's the one that has guided me and led me through all of this work. So grateful, and of course grateful for the students and the families that we get to partner with each and every day. They are truly amazing, and I hope this video does that justice for you.
It works. And the sound, needs sound. Do you think sound will work? I mean, sound. Yes.
I am good in India, and I'm talking the English. I like to talk English here, and I do some reading, and I do science, and I do math. I like to do that. I like to do a science, and I have some friends and talk with them, and I play with them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sophia. I'm in 7th grade. I speak Ukraine, English. I'm from Ukraine. Moved Farmington in 22 November. I like in American cities, New York, Boston, Miami cities.
Mi nombre es Dina. Tengo 10 años y estoy en 5º grado. Soy de Venezuela y Colombia. Y en la escuela me gusta hacer gimnasia y matemáticas.
My name is Dylan. I am 10 years old and I am in 5th grade. I am from Venezuela and Colombia, and at school I like to do gymnastics and mathematics.
speaking English, but my teachers have helped me to learn and speak English, and now I'm communicating with people in English and many different languages.
That was just a little 4-minute snapshot of some of our amazing students and families that we get to partner with each and every day. And Veronica's right, they all have their own unique stories, and their stories are so important for us to latch onto so that we know the best ways to support them and empower them. So you'll hear the term multilingual learners and English learners. Over the years that I've been here, the state has told us that they prefer different terms along the way. As of last year, we were going by English learners. Most recently this year, the state has preferred multilingual learners. But sometimes I like to separate the two because I think that Farmington is so diverse, and so we have about 20% of our student population are multilingual families and students. So they, are a larger portion of the population, but about 6% of our student population actually qualify for services through the ELL program. Amongst both populations, there's many different languages that are spoken in the homes, and it just contributes to our amazing diversity. Looking at the breakdown of the Yale population by school, you can see that the majority of our English learners are in the elementary schools. But most recently, over like the last year or two, Westwoods has really grown. Their student population has grown quite a bit, and particularly in 5th grade this year. So we are seeing growth across the board in all grade levels, but we continue to concentrate our support and our efforts in the K to 6 range. So we don't have one dominant language or most prominent language in Farmington. We have so many different languages that are spoken, and every year, whatever language was the most common one year is not the next year. So that continues to change. But these 7 languages we've seen a lot throughout the last 8 years that I've been here. So Spanish has really taken off over the last 2 years. We've seen a lot of growth in our Spanish-speaking population, which is very consistent with the state of Connecticut and nationwide. But Polish and Russian and Arabic, Mandarin, Tamil, and Telugu, those are languages that we've seen growth in over the course of several years. There's been a trend over the last 10 years of growth amongst multilingual learners and English learners. And it's been really interesting to watch and a fun challenge to keep up with the growth and making sure that we still provide the level of support that we want to for all students, despite the incremental growth each year. And as Veronica had mentioned, when we were putting this report together, it was at 237 students, and actually that was as of October 1st, I apologize. And then when we were doing the report late November, it was at 244. And then I think I emailed her this morning saying, okay, we're up a few more by the end of this week. So we really are keeping track of the growth and the changes, but it's happening very quickly. And typically each school year we get about 30 to 40 new students throughout the school year after that October 1st cutoff. When a new family registers in town, every family will complete a home language survey, and they are asked 3 questions on that survey about their language use at home. Any family that indicates another language spoken in their home the student will be screened for ELL services. And we have a special screener just for kindergartners, and then a different screener that we use for grades 1 and up. And anybody who is determined that they could use support with English language will be entered into our program based on that screener. And once they're in the program, each year there's a test called the Lost Links Assessment that the state requires all students to take. And how they perform on that test is how we'll determine if they continue on in the program or if their language is proficient enough where they don't need support in the program. And if they are in the program, students will receive either push-in services, which means an amazing ELL tutor will come into their classroom and support. And if they are receiving pull-out services, it's typically in a small group where they work on skills that are specific to their needs. And at Farmington High School, there's an ESOL course that is taught by a teacher that is certified in ELL and in English, and she also co-teaches in the classrooms. When students typically arrive to our schools, they may come in as beginners, they may come in as intermediate students, but they'll typically be progressing through the proficiency levels, and typically students stay in the program for 3 to 4 years, but the state is looking for students to exit within 5 years. And sometimes, and more recently, we've seen a lot of this, is students are arriving with different types of learner profiles. So they might not just be a student that's bilingual or receiving support. They may also be a student that's considered a newcomer. Like Veronica said, they might arrive tonight and start in school tomorrow. And there could be things like culture shock happening. There could be different things that would require them to need a lot of support. Like they might not even have anyone else in their classrooms that speak their language, or they might not know where to go or how to navigate our schools and join extracurricular activities. So we try to think really comprehensively about social and emotional needs as well as academic needs and language needs. We also have started to see a little bit of an increase in students who come in with limited or interrupted formal education, and that requires us to look at needs differently. We have students who are dually identified, so they have IEPs and are also identified as English learners. So we try to support in both of those areas and work with our special education counterparts. And then we have students that are considered long-term English learners. So they've been in the program for over 5 years, and we want to work really closely with math literacy specialists and different instructional specialists to support their academic needs to help them continue to progress. So there's just lots of different things that we think about when we're thinking about the needs of an English learner. Our students are immigrating from all over the world, but these are the countries that we've seen students move from most frequently in the last 2 years. And specifically, we've seen quite an increase in students that have come here from Ukraine. And most often that's because of the war, and they're relocating here. They may have family here or friends here, and they feel support within the community. And so we want to make sure that we offer them support within our school system. And we've also seen quite a few students arrive from Germany and some families that have come from Jordan. So it's been really just fun and interesting to keep up with all of the students that are moving here from other countries. And I'll just mention one more thing. In the past, we saw a lot of students that moved here in younger grades, kindergarten through 2nd grade, but now we're seeing students that are moving here from other countries, and their students are newcomers, and they're starting with, moving in like the 5th, 6th grade level, and it presents just a unique set of challenges because when they move in and they're in kindergarten through 2nd grade, all students are kind of learning language, like learning that academic language component. But when they move in the upper grades, the pace is faster, the content's heavier, you're not reading to learn anymore. You're not learning to read anymore, you're reading to learn and continuing to move on. So we want to support them as much as we can in those upper grades too. So some of the beginner and newcomer supports that we like to think about and make sure that we offer our supports with translations, a lunch bunch if we can, so that we can help them make social connections. We do a lot of vocabulary support, using visuals and making lessons hands-on. That was what those little kindergartners were doing with the scarves and the gloves, trying to keep it fun and make sure they know that learning a new language is fun. We try to collaborate with teachers as much as possible. They are in the classrooms with their classroom teachers, and so collaborating with them is essential. We use a lot of technology from programs such as Imagine Learning, which is a language and literacy program that's adapted to digital books, bilingual books, audio books, and iPads to support with different translations. You saw a picture of a boy that had his iPad and he was hovering up over a math worksheet and it was instantly translating it into Chinese so that he could read it. And it was so fun to watch that once he saw that worksheet in his language, he said, oh, and he just got right to work. So it was giving him the tool to be independent and really participate in his classroom. And he had only been here for a couple of weeks. So he was an excellent student. It was just the language that needed to be supported. And the family outreach has been something that has been evolving in the last couple of years. Kristen Wilder and I have been working closely together to coordinate events for our families. And the parents are so grateful for all of the events that we have, whether it's a playground play date where their children can make friends, to an event that we most recently did on promoting oral language and literacy, and just talking to families about what they can do at home. Because they all want to help and they all want to support their child. I had mentioned that we have had an increase in students with limited and interrupted formal education. So that's that SLIFE acronym that you're seeing. So when we have students that come in that fall under that classification, their education may have been interrupted or limited. They may be coming here with circumstances that are more challenging, such as war or poverty or political situation. And our students that are in this category are typically in the upper grades. So for those students, we really need to think about all those beginner and newcomer supports that we try to provide. And then in addition, we want to make sure that we're supporting any educational gaps that might be happening, and social emotional needs that may be necessary, and in addition to the language needs. So there's just a lot to think about and make sure that we're supporting them in different areas. And we've just had a couple of updates in the ELL world recently. You may have heard about this in the news over the summer. The Multilingual Parent Bill of Rights was implemented. It will go into effect in fall of 2024. But basically, the big idea with that Bill of Rights is that it promotes equity for multilingual students and families. It focuses heavily on ensuring that schools provide translated communication and interpreters for parent-teacher conferences and school meetings. Veronica and I have been working really hard on these things before we even heard anything about a Parent Bill of Rights, because we just believe in it so much for families. So we have been offering interpreters for conferences. We partnered with a language service. It's an over-the-phone interpretation service. So anybody in our schools, whether it's somebody in the main office or a classroom teacher or myself, can just pick up the phone and put in a code, and they'll have an interpreter on the line within 30 to 60 seconds that speaks any language. I have challenged it. I've never found a language that it doesn't have. So it's been just such a huge support for our families. And you know, we've used it even when we've had multiple people in the room for a call. We just put them on speakerphone. And it really just, the parents, you can just see, they have such a sense of ease once they know, okay, this is not all on me to figure this out. Like, this is a team and everybody wants to communicate. So we'll continue to explore ways that we can best offer translated communication for families, but you know, we've just been working on these things for quite some time. And then the assistive technology piece is something else that Veronica and I have been exploring over the last couple of years. Last year, we were fortunate enough to have iPads purchased for newcomers. And so that's really supported our older newcomers that arrive and you know, they maybe want to order their lunch in the cafeteria and they're not able to communicate what they would like, but now they have their iPad, and just like you saw Dylan using it on the screen, they are able to communicate with peers and teachers and other adults in a way that they'll be understood. And then this year we were awarded a foundation grant so that we'll be able to purchase an iPad for each school's main office. That will support office staff with communicating with families that come in to visit schools. And we'll be adding a tour component where families will be able to listen to a tour in a language that they can understand in their schools. So there's lots of new developments, but we're excited to keep up with the changes and continue to creatively think about how we can best support students and families that speak all languages.
And so we bring this report to you every 2 years, just to give you a status update on what it is. It's a point of pride, so it's like showing you, all the things that we're working on in this program, because I think it's a top-notch program in the state, and also, around budget time, it's always good for you to have the data that you need in order to make, budgetary decisions, and this is certainly an important part of our program, and I want you to see what we're trying to do, and again, we have a real overriding emphasis of trying to make sure that every student who comes to us, feels welcomed, included, and also successful. We want them to have access in the classroom, and we'll do whatever it takes to figure out the right combination of supports that we can put in to make sure that the child's successful. And so one other thing I want to brag about with this, but when you look at our ELL results on the Smarter Balanced, we are, for ELA, our students score the percentage of students that pass the ELA. So the actual, not the lost links test. I'm talking about how they do then on sort of grade level ELA skills. We're 7th in the state overall for that, and in math 4th in the state in performance in terms of the number of students that pass. So I think that just speaks to the strength of our tier 1, access for all students, strength of our tutors who are really helping students access that, real content, grade level kind of content. And so I'm just so proud of our students and our families and the program, that we're able to offer a great program that helps our students be successful and feel like, they have friends and they can talk to their friends in social ways, but also they're going to attend to their academics. So I'm super happy that we have this chance to showcase a little bit of what we do, and it's a real important part of our program.
Yeah, thank you. That's really phenomenal. I mean, just the amount that it's changed in the last 2 years because of the, I'm assuming a lot of the computer technology is just being driven by AI, and the translation piece is probably
It's
just,
really easy.
it's probably just so fast. It's so fast moving that it changes all the time. It's immediate, yeah. I mean, I see it at work too, but it's amazing how fast it's moving. So you probably see differences all the time, month to month even, with how fast the technology's moving. Yeah. Yeah.
And you remind me of another point I wanted to make, which is all of those. So not only do we have to think about teaching students how to use the technology, but we also have to make sure that we don't overuse the technology, that it doesn't become a crutch or a reason to not learn the language. So imagine that kind of dance that we're doing all the time, learn this and use it, but don't rely on it. So, teaching even teachers, when do you pull those supports away, and tutors, when do you pull this, when is it appropriate, when is it not appropriate? That requires a level of training as well. And so that is part of what we see our work as too, just also training, teachers on best practices and training tutors on best practices when it comes to that, sort of fine line of when do you do one versus the other.
Right. Because, the students they need it in the beginning because they can't communicate, obviously, but then they can't rely on it to continue to communicate. So, I would assume that that's a whole other training piece. But, it seems like you're doing an excellent job, and there's a lot there, because when students are moving from a country because there's a war going on, you don't, I'm sure learning the language is a huge piece, but it's probably not, maybe it's the most important piece, but it's probably not the biggest thing on their mind, they've been ripped away from their country and a lot of their family, and who knows what's going on. So there's a huge, social emotional factor too. So there's a lot to think about. So you're doing an excellent job. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, thank you. All right, 6C.
So we have one appointment and 2 resignations on this month's report.
All right, thank you. 6D is deeper learning updates.
So many examples in this particular month's report that reflect the instructional strategies outlined in the book, Building Thinking Classrooms and Mathematics. As a reminder, the author of this book was our keynote speaker at Convocation. Many examples of real-world learning experiences in the update, including our O&G Builds program, bringing 5th graders all the way to 12th grade to the FHS site where we're building our new high school, and they're learning about careers and construction. Very, very exciting for our students also just to visit the new high school while it is under construction. Also, Veterans Day celebrations occurred throughout our schools in November, and there are also details about celebrations related to our veterans in this update.
Great, thank you. 7A, unfinished business, budget update, budget impact.
Just a few updates. Last week, we held a mandatory pre-bid conference for transportation RFP request for proposals. So that occurred on the 28th of November. Very positive turnout. That was a mandatory pre-bid conference. And we had several vendors in attendance for that. The next key date is the public bid opening, which when addendum 2 comes out, hopefully tomorrow, will be announced to occur at 11 a.m. on the 8th of December. And then I expect this will lead into interviews for potential vendors, likely to take place in January 2024. And we'll work with the board negotiations committee on the next steps in that process. So we'll keep the board apprised as we move through that. Like I said, the next due date is the 18th of December. In addition, the ad hoc committee continues to make progress. Next meeting for the ad hoc committee is the 11th of December. I call your attention to that because I do think, that is when our consultants for SLAM are scheduled to make their initial recommendations or suggestions for the committee to discuss and ask questions. The committee is then holding the 22nd of January, which occurs right before a board meeting, but to hold an additional meeting then, so as SLAM presents perhaps some outcomes, the committee can ask questions and perhaps give them work to go back and investigate before coming back and having further discussion on the 22nd. So just wanted to keep the team informed of that. And then finally, in other news, we're set to begin our budget meetings with principals and program administrators. That will take place on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So that'll really be a kickoff to putting budget season fully in swing in preparation for board meetings with presentations on the 8th and 12th. So lots happening in the business office and with budget and operational projects. Are there any questions on anything shared?
Okay. Thank you. All right, unfinished business. We have the approval of the 24-25 Board of Ed meeting schedule. Before I ask for a motion, there was some discussion before we had our first reading, and then we had our first reading. There was some discussion a long time ago about this. There was some thought about having all of the board meetings in 24-25 at the new high school. However, as the first reading, the calendar, I think, has them at different schools. would anyone like to have any discussion, or does anybody have any thoughts about holding all of the board meetings at the
Just have a
new
quick question.
high school? Yes.
So would that mean that all of the other schools would come in and present at the high school?
Yes.
Or would it mean that the high school presents at that meeting?
No, so, yeah, so all of the schools would come to the new high school facility. And, I mean, the thought process on it, I believe, would be that the new high school has a lot of different locations in it that would be great to showcase. So it could even be held different locations within the new building to get the community to come out and see different locations in the new building. Like, the way, I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna be on the board, but I'm envisioning, maybe I'll come visit. Like, one could be held in, like, the learning corridor on the stairs, one could be held in Black Box Theater, one could be held in New Auditorium, one could be held in the cafeteria, one could be held, like different spaces to highlight the building itself, get the, community involved in seeing the new space. I don't know if anybody has any comments.
So that's,
Mhm.
that's it's exactly what we should do.
What-
Seize the moment and do
Yeah.
that, yeah.
It's exactly what we should do. Show the community what they paid for.
Right, and then the school, like, when it's normally East Farms, we'd be at East Farms can travel to the high school. We would just tell them what room they'd be in, right, so,
Gets the young kids excited about
right,
what's happening. too.
seems to make sense, so. So
Do we
I,
have to make an amendment to that, or how does that work?
well, that's why I did it before the motion, so.
Well, not as presented.
It's not as presented,
So
but, we
we
could,
could amend the original.
yeah,
reading.
so amend the original, right. So amend the original one. So I guess we could direct,
Just
Good.
ask a motion to amend the original.
well, couldn't we just direct the central office to change the original one? And then couldn't we just make a motion to adopt the
Yeah.
amended version? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I did it before the motion.
That's a better way to do it. It's a better way.
All right. All right, so, yeah, I will direct the, central office to change the Board of Ed meeting schedule, to just say that they're all, the 24-25 to be all at Farmington High School. And subsequently, I will need a motion to approve the 24-25 Board of Education meeting schedule as changed. As anticipated. Motion?
Second?
Well, it's on the record.
It's not hard. It's not hard. That's no touch.
So we're all clear on what we're voting on? The meeting schedule will all be at FHS in 24-25. Right. Same dates. Right. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right. All right, 7C, 2023 policy updates, second reading. I need a motion to approve the policy updates and new policies listed below as amended as a second reading. Motion?
Second?
All right, so any discussion? Anyone want to know what the amendment was?
Yes,
Policy.
amended.
Policy 4118, 1220, and 514, have been revised to reflect feedback that we received at the last Board of Education meeting. You can see the changes in a
It's
different color.
a green. It's a green.
Right, okay. But just for people watching, yes,
Right.
okay,
Question.
okay.
Policy 51132A has comments in it still that the board may consider doing this.
They should have been taken off, so we'll,
Is it,
where is it? Sorry.
What page?
I wrote down.
Usually comments are taken off before they come, so I don't know where they are.
is it,
113, 2A. It had to do with the, you only have to do the food C up through 8th grade in terms of absences and the council for absences, but the high school is optional, there were notes about being able to do it. Page 150.
Yeah, they want to go in the package, yeah. I just thought those notes were gonna come out.
yeah, I thought those notes were for us.
It's gonna come out.
This comes out when it's
Yeah.
published.
Yeah,
when
it
it's-
just comes out when it's published, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
just, these are.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are just, right.
Yeah, so we'll take that out. I think it's just a note to, right, so that wouldn't be part of the policy once it's published.
I mean, that's what I see. Okay,
That's how I interpret it.
Right.
So,
okay. Any other questions or discussion? Comments? Going once? No. Yeah, page 115. Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. Thank you. 7D is 2023 policy repeals, second reading. I need a motion after,
First reading. Oh,
oh,
sorry.
Second.
Oh, sorry,
Second
first
reading.
Second reading, sorry,
oh, that's okay. After, I was like, oh my.
apologies.
After identifying the below policies which are unnecessary, the board approves the repeals of these policies as a second reading. The administration is directed to remove these policies from the policy manual and archive as repealed. Motion?
Second?
All right, any discussion, questions, comments on this? Second reading? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, this is 8A, 2023 policy repeals, first reading. All right, motion, after identifying the below policies which are unnecessary, the board approves the repeals of these policies as a first reading. Motion?
Second?
Okay,
So these policies reflect repeals of policy that are not required, and basically, we follow state and federal law on numbers 2 through 5 on that list. The 1 and 6 are related to one another in that they are tuition policies, and we have been challenged with enrollment and that we cannot really take any tuition students in. Having these policies, often create the, hope or, the ask to do it, and it's just been a no because of our enrollment increases and class size increases. So I think for the foreseeable future, we're in that situation, and having these policies out there often, we just aren't able to take students in tuition-wise. So it would be repealing these two policies for a first and then a second reading at the next board.
We met on this on November 27th, through all this stuff.
okay, any questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Right, 9A, consideration of Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations report, the October 2023 financial statement report. I'll do the motion first and, to approve the October 2023 financial statement as presented. Motion,
Second?
okay. Scott?
Just a couple highlights on there, as we discussed last month, summer school billing continued to come in, early in the fall and had a greater cost than anticipated. I would expect in the months of December and or January, you'll start to see revenue apply for excess costs, towards that, but I did wanna note that, I think, obviously we're not in October anymore, so we're continuing to watch trends. I'd say transportation will be another area that's continuing to move in that direction as well. That's a sneak preview for what lies ahead. Additional overspending areas that are projected, other professional services, custodial supplies. You'll notice that the encumbrances are based on trends that we saw earlier in the fall, and I think you'll see that pattern when we look at the November and December financials, or excuse me, the November financials, and then kind of where we see things trending. On the insurance side, we've continued to track the seasonal trends. October really was the first month where we saw it more costly than we had initially projected. Other than that, we're right on track with our grant expenditures at this point, and moving in the right direction there. So with that, I'll turn it over in the event there's any questions.
Any questions? No. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. Okay, that leaves us with executive session. My watch is broken.
9:16.
All right, I need a motion to move to executive session at 9:16 for the purpose of the following: discussion of school resource officer report, which would result in the disclosure of public records or the information contained therein described in subsection B of section 1-210. The attendance in the executive session shall be limited to members of the Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, and Assistant Superintendents. Motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're in executive session at 9:16. I need a motion to return to public session at 9:41. Motion?
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right, motion carries. We're in public session at 9:41. I believe that moves us to the report of the board chair. I don't really have a lot more to say, except thank you again for making this such a great experience. I'm really sad to have it be my last meeting. I did want to wish the incoming board well. I want to wish Patty and Sarah well on the town council. I know that you're going to do a great job. And as it has become tradition for the last several chairs to give a gift to the outgoing board. So as my gift to this board, I made a donation to the Farmington Public School Foundation on behalf of this board of education, and I did I gave a donation in memory of Luke Rue, and I thought that was fitting because the Farmington Public School Foundation is such a great organization, supports the students of Farmington and the school system in general. It's a great complement to the town resources. They don't, obviously they don't supplant, the town, but they do complement the town, and they do great things for all of the students. We saw tonight that one of the grants, put to use. So that is my gift to you all. It'll be made on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education members, December 2023, in memory of Luke Rue. Farmington High School class of 2022. So,
Nice.
and good luck to everyone and thank you very much. And that's it for me. So with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right. Well, we're adjourned. Thank you, and everybody have a great holiday season. Stay safe.